good afternoon, everybody, and welcome here to M&M Super Speedway as we get ready for practice for the NNSCRA Mobil1 Cup Series All-Star Race. The drivers that have clinched themselves spots in the All-Star Race for this season, getting ready to take to this racetrack for a practice session, and we're going to get a little bit of a general idea of just how good their cars are. As the first car off track is going to be Luke Walker in the 2. Now, this driver has been really on fire in the last couple of weeks. He's now up to second in the Mobil1 Cup Series standings, and he's trying now the hard task of trying to run down Sean Galligan for the points lead in the second half of the regular season. He won earlier on this season at Coca-Cola Speedway, and as we have said, this track, M&M Super Speedway, pretty much just like Coca-Cola Speedway, except the racing surface is different. At Coca-Cola, it is concrete. Here at M&M's, it is asphalt. And it's going to be very interesting to see just exactly how Luke Walker does here at a track very similar to the track he ended up winning at earlier on this season. As we're looking at Luke Walker and waiting for him to complete his first timed lap, let's talk about this track, M&M Super Speedway. As you can see as he comes down the front straightaway, there is still frost on the grass separating the racetrack from pit road. We ended up having a little bit of a snow here last night, and so this track is going to be very, very cold, and when it's cold, usually it's got a lot more grip to it. And we saw in the Truck Series practice session, Trek Togger hit the 49s in that session. That was the first time I can remember seeing a driver actually hit the 49s in a practice session. And we'll see if these Mobil1 Cup cars can find that same amount of grip. I'll bet you that if we keep being cold, which the meteorologists seem to be predicting for this entire race week, we may end up having some really, really good races and really good finishes as a result of the grip that is inside this track being as cold as it is. And Luke Walker in the Rain-X Chevrolet, he's going to cross the stripe with a 45.837. Good heavens, we were lucky enough to hit 49 in the Truck Series event, and we've just hit the 45s here in the Mobil1 Cup Series. And that's by himself. We may hit the 40s here today, folks. If we get enough cars in a big pack, we may hit the 40s in the speed charts. Holy cow. There is Dylan Young in the number 30 for Turner Scott Motorsports. Dylan Young ended up winning the season starter at Daytona this season. He also won last season at Atlanta. That gets him into this all-star race, and obviously winning at a restrictor plate track makes you kind of on your resume a restrictor plate track expert. And so Dylan Young, this is a restrictor plate track. We'll see how he does. He's currently 9th fastest on the track with a 45.877. And he had a pretty good practice session in the Truck Series event, as I recall, as it looks like the points leader, Sean Galligan, is getting ready to come out on track. One of the Masons made the all-star race. That was Wolfgang, his brother Ralph, going to have to make it in via either the fan vote or the Mobil Open. But Wolfgang gets into this event after winning last season at 2 events, Arizona and Homestead Miami Speedway. Wolfgang Mason just barely ended up missing out on the chase as well. I think he just barely missed out to Dylan Poteet last year. And this year, he's running fairly well in the point standings, but he's yet to get to victory lane. We actually expected to see him in victory lane a lot sooner than this, with a lot of road courses on the first half of the regular season schedule. Infineon was on there, Pukekohe was on there, and so too was Thornton, but still trying to find victory lane for the first time this season is number 82 Dodge, as he is currently 9th fastest on the racetrack. Now this guy is one lucky son of a gun, Mason Wood in the 24. He ended up getting in, replacing Zachary Robinson in the replacement signups. Up to that point, it was a big question mark as to what Mason Wood was going to do as far as making the All-Star race, because Mason Wood had a victory at Champs-Élysées in the Mobil1 Cup Series last season. But when he ended up getting into this ride, boom, his questions were answered. He had himself a ride for the All-Star race, and right now he's 10th fastest on the track. And Mason Wood's been actually really good since returning to the Mobil1 Cup Series as well. He is currently in that 24 car for the rest of the season, and he's been doing a really good job for that team. He's now 3rd fastest on the track, too. Sean Galligan currently 16th fastest on the track, trying to find his way into a pack of cars. Sean Galligan, the current points leader in the series, and he has been trying to build up his points lead. Now, last week, he had a rather difficult weekend at Spartan. His lead got a little bit cut into by Luke Walker, as we mentioned. Sean Galligan going to try and use this as a little bit of a respite, if you will, and then get back to work in the second half of the season. Galligan trying to become a 2-time Mobil1 Cup Series champion. And he also gets into this all-star race with 3 wins last season: Chicagoland, Stunt Road, and Lime Rock. As Luke Walker is pulled onto pit road, Charles Jackson, Cinco de Mayo, is currently 6th fastest on the track. Now Charles Jackson, we just saw the number 2 car coming to pit road. That was the ride that Charles Jackson put in victory lane at Daytona last year, and that's what's qualified him into this season's all-star race. And Charles Jackson, last few weeks, has actually been putting together some good runs, but he's mired way down in the point standings, so Charles got a lot more work to do if he's going to make the Mobil1 Cup Series chase for the championship. And he's got a teammate right behind him in George Roque. Now, George Roque hasn't been to victory lane since last season either. He won at Pocono last year when he drove the number 33, which is also in this all-star race, being piloted now by Zach Rogers. But George Roque having a very dismal season so far, trying to get his season turned around. He's 14th fastest currently on track, and now he just took 2nd fastest as he's in this group here with Charles Jackson and the Tweenix Racing Chevy of Sean Henley, as Henley is in this all-star race due to a win last season at Kansas. Now, Henley was really close to going to victory lane at Phoenix at the beginning of the season. He and his teammate Dylan Poteet, but Drew Austin kind of foiled their plans there. Sean Henley, though, we're going to have to see how he does. He's currently actually the fastest on track right now during this practice session. There is Cody Lamas running a patriotic number 77 scheme on his Bandit Wood Chippers Toyota. Cody Lamas started off the season with a bang, winning at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. He ended up making it a back-to-back wins for the Kyle Busch Motorsports team. Cody Lamas has now been trying to keep himself up in the hunt for the championship, as I think he's fallen down just outside the top 15 in the standings. Cody right now is 18th fastest on the track. Right behind him, running for the first time this year, the Gold Coors Light Chevy Impala. Now, this is Jessica Shelton. This ride has been kept a secret all season long. She ended up driving the number 3 red Coors Light car, the number 3 blue Coors Light car, but never drove the gold car. This has been set aside especially for All-Star Race Weekend. And right now, that's a very fast Coors Light Chevy as well. Shelton currently 2nd fastest on the track at the current moment. She ended up picking up her first career Mobil1 Cup Series win last season that clinches her spot in this All-Star race, and that win came at the Glen. Right behind her, last driver to race his way into the All-Star race, James Qualls in the number 15 Panhandle Toyota, ended up winning last week at Spartan. He should have probably won the weekend before at Pukekohe, but lap traffic ended up causing a big problem for him. He got sweet redemption, though, last week at Spartan, got himself into the All-Star race, and right now he's 3rd fastest on the track. The other of the Tweenix cars that's already locked into the All-Star race, Dylan Poteet, 8th fastest on the track right now. Poteet had a win this season at Dover. He also had wins at Stunt Road and Indianapolis last season. That clinched him a spot in this season's All-Star race. Right now, he's trying to get up as quickly as he can to work with his teammate Sean Henley. The other of the Tweenix cars, James McLeod, going to have to get in via racing his way in the Mobil Open. There's James Silverfox, another Turner Scott Motorsports cars, ended up winning at Pukekohe in what was a rather bizarre way. He was running 4th place on the final lap. The top 3 ahead of him ended up wrecking, and he came around to take the checkered flag as the winner of that event. But he also ended up winning a race at Darlington last season. James Silverfox, I believe he's now on a 4-season winning streak of having at least 1 win every single season that he has been in. Although maybe actually, as I think of it, I believe when he moved to the 31, that one season they did not have a winning season. But right now, he is one of several of the Turner Scott Motorsports cars that are trying to either be in or are in the All-Star race. Dylan Young is another of his teammates that's already in the All-Star race, and then also Cassandra Renzi and Henry Nova, a couple of rookies. They'll be trying to make the All-Star race via the Mobil Open. As just up ahead is Zach Rogers. Now, Zach Rogers ended up winning earlier on this season at Talladega Superspeedway. He also, in his first season last year in the 10 car, went to victory lane at Michigan. So Zach Rogers has been to victory lane twice in the past year, and right now running 11th fastest on the track. We'll see how he does, as he won at a restricted plate track, and we are here today at a restricted plate track as well. There's Drew Austin. He holds the honor right now, being the only two-time winner in the Mobil1 Cup Series at the current moment, with wins this season so far at Phoenix and Derek Motodome. He has been starting to move his way up through the point standings as well, as he may have a wild card spot locked up, but there's still a long ways to go in this regular season. Drew Austin would love to be able to win here in the All-Star race as well. That would be quite a feather in his cap, as he's been having quite a season so far in Season 7. There's Daniel Day in the number 22. He went to victory lane earlier on the season at Auto Club, and he's actually been making his presence felt up inside the top 15 in points as well. He and his teammate Joshua Michaels for Penske Racing, those Ford Mustangs have been up there now, starting to make some hay and make some waves as far as trying to battle for the championship in the chase. As right here is a driver who knows something about winning a championship. It's the defending Mobil1 Cup Series champion, Austin LaPlante, who also has been making a lot of strides in the point standings after he was way down, even outside the top 35 in points for a while. Austin LaPlante here for Roush Fenway Racing gets into this event after picking up a win last year at Kentucky. We almost didn't have our Mobil1 Cup Series champ, defending Mobil1 Cup Series champ in this All-Star race if he had not had that win, as he is yet to go to victory lane here in Season 7. Andy Timmons running a new paint scheme here for All-Star Race Weekend, the number 25 Sega Chevy Camaro. Andy Timmons, we saw him in the Oreo All-Star Race practice, as he was able to secure a ride there. He has ended up winning a race this season as well in his rookie season, the Mobil1 Cup Series, that came at the Milwaukee Mile, a race where all three of the Michael Norman Motorsports cars end up finishing inside the top 10. Andy Timmons has yet, though, to go to victory lane again, and he has yet to really have a standout race since then. He has fallen way down through the point standings. Andy Timmons, maybe a lot of people may consider it a rookie luck that he won that event, but Andy Timmons going to try and get the second half of the season going and prove it was no fluke. Don't forget, Andy Timmons' rookie season last season in trucks was a two-time winner, and one of his wins ended up coming up here at Coca-Cola Speedway, or ended up coming to Coca-Cola Speedway, which, as I've said before, is very similar to this racetrack. There is Jake Cole in the number 21. Jake Cole winning at one of the toughest tracks on the circuit this season. That was at Thornton. Remember, he was in a big battle there. A two-wide battle. A two-car battle. I can't even remember who the other car was he was battling with, quite honestly. But Jake Cole, since then, we haven't seen a whole lot out of that Kevin Harvick Incorporated number 21 Chevy Camaro, as he's currently 19 fastest on track. We'll see if this is a track he can win at. Don't forget, Jake Cole really has quite a repertoire, but most of it is over in the Snickers Cup Series. He is a former Snickers Cup Series chaser from last season, and Jake Cole also, let's also remember, just real quickly, that Jake Cole is trying to go for the trifecta this season. He also has a Truck Series win under his belt, and so he's trying to pick up a Snickers Cup Series win and become the first driver to pick up a win in all three series here in Season 7. There's Isaac Canepa in the number 29. This is a one-race deal for Richard Childress Racing, as Canepa ended up winning for Penske Racing the number 12 last season at Texas Motor Speedway. And Richard Childress Racing brought him on board here for a one-race deal to be able to try and see what he can do. Canepa's running full-time this season in the Oreo Truck Series, and we'll see what he can do here in the Mobil1 Cup Series. Obviously, a Ford Mustang, very different from a Chevy Camaro. Right now, he is 17th fastest on the track. Another driver in a one-race deal. Going to be a teammate to Sean Galligan here in the All-Star race, running there for the Rusty Wallace Racing. That's Alex May, driving the number 62 Last of Us Toyota Camry. Now, Seth Cole is very well known for driving this particular car over in the likes of Dylan Young Series and others. But right now, Alex May taking the wheel, and Alex May is currently 21st fastest on track at the current moment. There is Mason Wood. Let's see if there's any other drivers we haven't talked about. Yeah, there's one. The defending Mobil1 Cup Series Rookie of the Year champion, Bob Jones, over with the 38. Now, Bob Jones picked up a win last season at Talladega Superspeedway, which all but clinched him Rookie of the Year honors for Season 6. He's running here right now in the 15th position. We haven't seen, we've seen some little spurts of Bob Jones finishing well up inside the top 10, but it seems like just as soon as he gets onto a good streak, all of a sudden he's involved in a wreck and starts to fall through the standings again. It's kind of almost like a yo-yo through the standings, and Bob Jones trying now to rely maybe on wins to get himself a wild card spot. We'll see if maybe this race, this All-Star race, could be the first step towards Bob Jones, trying to get himself into shape of trying to maybe battle for the first time in a Mobil1 Cup Series championship. And with just a little less than 5 minutes to go, let's take a look and see who the fastest on track currently is. And right now, the fastest on track is currently Charles Jackson with a 44.655. Sean Henley right behind him in second. George Roque is in third. Now, those three, remember we saw them all clustered together in a 3-car pack at the very beginning of this race. Apparently, that was good enough for them to have the 3 fastest times. Cody Lamas is currently 4th fastest. His teammate Drew Austin 5th, so the Kyle Busch Motorsports Toyotas are awfully fast today. Then it's Daniel Day, James Qualls, Jessica Shelton, Austin LaPlante, and Mason Wood. That is the top 10 right now atop the current speed charts. I'm just going to quickly scroll down here through the names, make sure there isn't somebody I have missed here. And nope, I have gotten everybody. I have talked about everybody here in this practice session, and right there, whoa, wait a minute, I was just jumping to Charles Jackson, and Sean Galligan just posted the fastest lap with a 44.590. So Charles Jackson, all of a sudden dethroned by over a tenth of a second, as Sean Galligan puts his car on point, the highest and fastest running in the current speed charts, hitting the 44.5s. That is one fast lap, and he just ran into the lap ago. Let's see what his lap time is going to be this time. Will it be any faster? That time was a 44.846, so about 3/10 slower. But right now, very, very fast Toyota. As a matter of fact, there's actually a lot of Toyotas up here inside the top 10 in the running order. The 64s in first, the 77 and 54 are 5th and 6th, and the 15 of James Qualls is in 8th. So Toyota could possibly be the make to watch in the All-Star races. They've obviously got some pretty fast Camrys currently on the racetrack. Little less than 3 minutes to go here in this practice session. Does anybody have anything to try and challenge Sean Galligan for that fastest lap so far here in this practice session? Trying to see if anybody's going to jump up inside the top 10 as far as the speed charts as well. That currently is not in the top 10 in the speed charts. That's not looking like it's happening just yet. Let's try and find another pack of cars that we might be able to watch that might try and challenge for a spot. And that could possibly be this bunch right here. Bob Jones, Cody Lamas, James Qualls, and Dylan Poteet starting to catch up here with this group as well. One of these drivers could maybe make a move up there. James Qualls, Cody Lamas already inside the top 10, but I'm talking about Bob Jones. And just as I say that, Bob Jones up to 9th fastest on the speed charts now with a 44.844. It's interesting because in the Truck Series race, it was the bigger the pack, the better chance you had of having a speed inside the top 10. We're seeing groups of 3 and 4 being able to move their way up inside the top 10, and Wolfgang Mason just moved himself up to 5th fastest with a 44.768. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe Wolfgang is currently in that pack with Sean Galligan and company. He is. And that's only a pack of 4 cars right there with Galligan, Wolfgang Mason, Dylan Young, and Jake Cole, as the 21 and the 30 are way behind the 82. So, yeah, as I said, it seems to be these packs of 2 and 3 that are producing more speed than if they were all together in a big pack. I'm also noticing these drivers here in the Mobil1 Cup Series less, less brave, if you will. Not willing to really push the envelope, race 3 and 4 wide like we saw them do in the Truck Series race. I mean, the Truck Series race, with about 3 minutes to go, they were racing 3 and 4 wide in about a 15 truck pack. But we're not seeing that. It's much more spread out in this practice session in the Mobil1 Cup Series. As right now, that is the fastest car on track, as we are just about 40 seconds and counting away from this practice session being over, and it looks like Sean Galligan is going to have the fastest car on track right now over Jackson, Henley, Roque, and Wolfgang Mason. I'm trying to look, and I believe the highest running rookie in this practice session would end up being, well, actually, Jake Cole just jumped up in the running order here. Highest running rookie, who would that even be? Zach Rogers? No, it wouldn't be Zach Rogers. He's not a rookie. I think it would be Andy Timmons. I think, actually, if I'm not mistaken, we're going to have to look at the official results, but I think Andy Timmons may actually be the only rookie that is currently in this season. In this All-Star race this season. I may be wrong. We'll find out in just a moment. I don't know if they've actually called practice now. This may just be the cool-down lap. Let's look and see if the practice session speeds are official, and I think they actually are. And yes, you see there, Andy Timmons, 21st, the only rookie that is currently in the All-Star race. Wow. He's surrounded by veterans. But Sean Galligan is the fastest on track. Charles Jackson second, Sean Henley third, George Roque fourth, Wolfgang Mason was fifth. Then Cody Lamas, Drew Austin. I'll tell you, watch out for those two if they get hooked up during the All-Star race. Daniel Day, James Qualls, and Bob Jones. That was the top 10. As now practice is complete. Jessica Shelton with 11th fastest, Jake Cole 12th, 13th Dylan Young, Austin LaPlante 14th, Mason Wood 15th. Dylan Pote was 16th, 17th, Zach Rogers. First car on track was 18th fastest, Luke Walker. Isaac Canepa 19th, James Silverfox 20th, Andy Timmons 21st, and Alex May was 22nd fastest. Just barely even made it into the 45s, so 45.911. He almost was in the 46s, so not exactly a very strong car here today for the 62 team. But the Rusty Wallace Motorsports cars on either side of the speeds. Sean Galligan fastest, Alex May slowest, and then all those big names right in between. So, this is another storyline that we're going to have to follow is, will Andy Timmons be the only rookie to take the green flag in the Mobil1 Cup Series All-Star race, or will another rookie make their way in via the Mobil Open or the fan vote? That's going to be a very interesting storyline to follow. But congratulations to Sean Galligan on having the fastest lap today of 44.590, puts him atop the speed charts. We'll definitely be keeping an eye on him during the All-Star race. And all these other drivers, who knows? Maybe this is the best they had, or maybe they were just laying back and not showing what they can do just yet. Anyway, folks, we still got a Snickers Cup Series practice session coming up. Then we're going to have, of course, our Oreo Open, Mobil Open, and Snickers Shootout, and then, of course, the 3 All-Star races. So hope that you'll be continuing to tune in here during the All-Star race weekend on the Entry Sports channel, off-road racing at its best.